Fugitive Colors by Salina Hussain. In this video, we will have a detailed description about the short story Fugitive Colors written by Salina Hussain. And if you people are able to follow me, please do like my video and also subscribe my channel. And now let's get started. Salina Hussain is one of the foremost writers of Bengali fiction, and she has published over 20 novels, 4 collections of short stories, 4 books of essays, and 4 books of children's literature. One of her short stories, Fugitive Colors, is about the troubled hill people of Bangladesh and the sacrifice of a young man who is killed because he represents the enemy. The story paints the horrors that the military gives the people it is supposed to protect. So in the story we see the Bengali settlers trying to conquer the land from the hill people, and also the hill people struggle for survival. Now let's check the major characters of the story. They are Shruti, Shubhapriyo, Purnachandra, Kajolika, Reboti and Thakurda, among which Shruti is the protagonist of the story. Now let's start the discussion. Shruti is deeply worried by something so that he is unable to walk. The actual reason for his sadness is not known, but it is clear that he is haunted by a familiar face. And while walking, he takes a scorched piece of rubber discarded by someone, and now this piece of rubber can be compared to Shruti's present situation, as he is also discarded by someone. In order to get some solace or comfort, Shruti is now invited to stay with Shubhapriyo. He is more than just a friend or more than his best friend. Shubhapriyo resides in the hilly forest of Bengal, and he believes that such a place can comfort Shruti. Shubhapriyo has a young brother of 10 years old, Purnachandra, who knows each and every corner of the forest. Shruti being the first time to the forest, it is Purnachandra who guides Shruti through the forest. During a conversation, Shruti asked Purnachandra who had given him his name, and Purnachandra shouted that it was Thakurda, his grandpa, and the enemies killed him in front of Purna. And it is now Shruti comes to know about the crucial situation facing by the hill people. The Bengali settlers are trying to drive off the hill people, and just a year ago, hundreds of soldiers raided their village and the people had to take shelter in the forest. And unfortunately, Purnachandra and his family had to witness the brutal murder of his grandpa, Thakurda. Actually, the Bengali settlers are trying to grab the land from the original inhabitants of the land. And for the hill people, it is a struggle for survival. Now, Shruti realizes that his grief is nothing when compared to the trouble of the people. Now he begins to feel a new emotion in him, a guilt in him for being a part of the Bengali settlers, and also a sympathy for the condition of the hill people. And now he feels that his pain is fading because of the intensity of his emotions for Shubhapriyo's people and their struggle. Shubhapriyo now asks him to forget his pain just as Bithitha did when she jilted him. So now we come to know that this is the actual reason for his pain. When Vidita got herself separated from Shruti for her better life, it was unbearable for Shruti. And Shubhapriyo advises him to forget her just as she did. But Shruti understands that it is not that easy for him to forget her. It has made a deep scar inside his heart. Shubhapriyo continues to explain to him the intensity of their condition. The intensity of the war of survival increases day by day. The soldiers may set fire to the whole village at any time, and they may lose their life even the next moment. From this, it is clear that they almost the worst time of their life, and they still live and will continue to live. By this statement, Shubhapriyo advises Shruti to move on without wasting his time and life. Shruti looked around to find the beauty of this virgin forest, and underneath this beauty there is hatred, bloodshed and destruction hidden. Even in this beauty he cannot find solace because he finds himself torn between two struggles, the struggle to forget Bidida and also the struggle of the hill people to survive. He stretched out under a giant tree for some relaxation, and there he saw a squirrel leaping off a branch. He thought that the squirrel would jump onto him and he could find solace with the squirrel, but the squirrel stared at the unfamiliar face for a few seconds and ran to the wires very fast. Here, Shudip connects the situation to the way in which Vidita left him. He thought even a squirrel rejected him. After a while, without any warning, roaring like a tiger, Purnachandra came from nowhere. Purnachandra was happy that he succeeded in frightening Shudip. He came with a cowbell to give Shudip to tie it around his neck so as to find him if he loses his way in the wilderness. Shudip was very anxious to know more about the little child, and he asked Purna whether he trusts him. And without a thought, he replies he does not trust him as he belongs to the clan of their enemies. This answer was like a slap on Shudip's face. But soon, Shudip understands the grief and hatred of Purnachandra. The brutality of the settlers had changed the innocence of the child into hatred and vengeance. Purna continues that Shudip is not supposed to stay there for long as the people are getting suspicious. And also, his family, including himself, are not much interested in Shudip, but they allow to stay him there because he is Shubhapriya's friend. This is again another blow to Shudip. He began to strike his head against the tree until it began to spin. Without having any effect on this, Purnachandra again says that even his sister Kajolika hates him, and he talks about Kajolika's lover Reboti. Reboti, Kajolika's lover, has joined Shanti Behani, which is a group against the government, and Kajolika too is planning to join the war. Now while walking, Shudip collapsed on the ground when his feet got entangled in a giant root, and just then the sound of a jeep was heard. Purnachandra too fell to the ground in order to escape from the view of the people inside the jeep. Soon after, the jeep sped away, and again Purnachandra talks about his vow of taking revenge upon his enemies. And now Purna talks about Kajolika, who is waiting for Reboti near the bamboo grove, and they decide to fetch her. And Kajolika is also having a cowbell around her neck. But now Purnachandra fears if the enemies has found Kajolika, so he rushes to find Kajolika as soon as possible. In order to find Kajolika, Shudip and Purnachandra enter into the thick forest where the canopy of the trees has turned the day into dark night. And seeing the darkness, Shudip mistakes the day as a night and assures Purna that in this darkness nobody will find Kajolika when even the animals sleep. Suddenly, hearing this foolishness, Purnachandra burst out into laughter, forgetting his tensions about Kajolika, but soon after, his mood changes and he starts crying for his sister. They go on searching, and finally they find his sister lying motionless, being raped by the soldiers. Her clothes are scattered and blood comes out of her body. Unable to understand the situation, Purna asks Shudip whether his Titi is dead. But Shudip finds out that the girl is still alive, and he decides to take the girl to her people. Shudip carried her and Purna followed him. On the way, Reboti comes and tries to attack Shudip, thinking that he has made the problem. But when Purnachandra says that he is Shubhapriya's friend, he makes no harm to Shudip, and he cries madly that his beloved had been raped. And finally they reach home, and the enraged Shubhapriya and his family shouted at Shudip that he has to pay for the crime that his people have committed. Shubhapriya wanted to take revenge upon the Bengali settlers, and he decides to kill Shudip, being a representative of the Bengali settlers. They took a rope and tied Shudip onto a tree. Shudip stood silent, accepting the responsibility of all the cruelties of his race. Shudip didn't resist, and he stood silent there even after knowing that he is going to be murdered. And the story ends with a deep darkness, that is, the murder of Shudip. Hope you guys have been beneficial with my video, so please like, share and comment my video, and also don't forget to subscribe my channel. And now stay tuned for my next video. Till then, take care and bye.